Roman Reigns receives a massive warning. Triple H's power level in WWE explained. Wrestling veteran lavishes praise on WWE and brutally blasts AEW. John Cena and R-Truth real-life beef. Sasha Banks message to Bayley ahead of WWE return. Mickie James harshly calls out Sasha Banks, another member to Roman Reigns' Bloodline. Let's jump right into our first story. Triple H's power level in WWE explained. WWE legend Kevin Nash recently praised Triple H and discussed his rise to power in the company. Following Vince McMahon's retirement, the game took over as the company's new head of creative. Since gaining power, Triple H has brought back several release stars in the company. Speaking with Sean Oliver on the Click This podcast, Kevin said that Triple H has been able to go through life without any baggage, and it has served him well. It was strange because I've just never been around anybody with no vices, said Nash. You know, like wow, you're really effing talented, you cut a good promo, you're funny as F, you don't miss a workout, and you don't have any vices. Co-host Sean Oliver asked what one thing Triple H had that he wished he could bottle for himself and other talents. The number one thing you would bottle from him is his passion for the business. He's also a student of the business. I think that is huge. I think that if you know the history of most things, especially if you know the downfalls of corporations, anything. If you know the history, then the chance of you repeating that is very limited. The game's reign as head of creative has been well received by fans worldwide. Numerous superstars have returned to the company, and weekly shows have also witnessed an increase in ratings. Speaking on the Out of Character podcast with Ryan Satin, Seth Rollins said he was excited to see his former rival and mentor in a new backstage position. Very exciting. I've always had a great admiration for him. He's been a mentor of mine for as long as I've been in the company. And so, to have someone in that position that I trust is really awesome. I trusted Vince as well, but to just have a breath of fresh air is really good, Rollins said. The wrestling world has responded positively to Triple H taking over creative for the promotion. Time will tell if more departed stars opt to return to the company in the near future. What are your thoughts on Triple H's brief time as head of WWE Creative? Who do you want to see return to WWE? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Wrestling veteran lavishes praise on WWE and brutally blasts AEW. Disco Inferno recently pointed out the glaring difference between WWE and AEW in terms of acting, praising stars like Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens. While All Elite Wrestling has always been at the forefront of producing top-tier matches, many fans criticize them for lacking intriguing stories and characters. On the contrary, WWE's in-ring output may not receive the highest stars, but the sheer number of unique personalities and storyline developments on their shows keep the viewers thoroughly captivated. Wrestling veteran Disco Inferno spoke about the same aspect on the latest episode of the podcast Keeping It 100. Inferno stated that many performers in the global juggernaut, like Seth Rollins, Owens, and Zayn, were tremendous at mic work and establishing characters through vignettes. He explained that the company had a lot of great acting on display. WWE guys are doing so much good. Many of their guys are so good at their minute-and-a-half to 2-minute vignettes. Seth Rollins is killing it once he found his niche of like Joker type of weird heel, and Sami and Kevin Owens are doing great work. There's so much good acting. As for EW, Disco Inferno stated that their backstage promos merely involved performers boasting about their in-ring accomplishments and nothing more. He added that this was the most glaring difference between both promotions. And in AEW, they are I'm gonna see you on Rampage. The last time we met, we went to a 30-minute draw, and now I got like my friends with me. He said, that stuff is, that's the glaring difference between both the shows. There's seemingly a lot of merit to what Disco Inferno said about WWE having great acting, as the promotion has many riveting characters. Not just Rollins, Zayn, and Owens, but performers like Karrion Kross, Austin Theory, and more have also received plenty of time to showcase their acting chops in backstage segments. These elements have certainly aided the company in forging a connection between the performers and fans to enhance the overall quality of the shows. Do you agree with Disco Inferno's take on the difference between the global juggernaut and AEW? Sound off in the comments section below. Sasha Banks' message to Bayley ahead of WWE return. Sasha Banks sent a heartfelt message to former tag team partner Bayley in her latest tweet. Sasha Banks and Naomi recently walked down the ramp at the New York Fashion Week. Judging by a photo that Naomi later shared on her Twitter handle, Bayley was also in attendance at the show to support her best friends. The boss reacted to Naomi's picture of the trio and sent a wholesome 3-word message to Bayley. In response, Bayley tweeted that she is a big fan of Banks and Naomi. Here is the exchange. Our role model at its Bayley WWE, Banks wrote. Huge Mercedes and Trinity fan right here, Bayley responded. Sasha Banks and Bayley have been close friends for a while now. Their Twitter exchange was met with a variety of responses from WWE fans. Banks and Bayley's rivalry back during their NXT days was met with high praise from the WWE universe. The duo became the first ever WWE Women's Tag Team Champions on the road to WrestleMania 35 in 2019. In an interview in late 2020, the role model shared her favorite moment with Banks during their WWE run. I guess I would say when we were both double champions, because it was like Stone Cold and Triple H. They were the two-man power trip. It was such a crazy time to think about, being able to represent 3 different divisions in Raw, SmackDown, and the tag division, being able to go around 2 or 3 different shows and work with different people. I guess what completed that was when Sasha beat Asuka for the Raw Women's title, so that was when it started, Bayley 2 belts and 2 belts Banks. If the latest rumors are to be believed, Banks and Naomi will make their WWE returns in the near future. With Triple H in charge of creative, Banks and Naomi are bound to do well if they end up returning to WWE. Would you like to see another feud pitting Banks against Bayley somewhere down the line? John Cena and R-Truth real-life beef. WWE superstar R-Truth has looked back on his first interaction with John Cena upon joining the company. He also detailed how they put rumors of their beef with each other to rest. Some reports in the early 2000s had suggested that WWE star John Cena and R-Truth had a public fallout at an airport. Truth was a part of TNA when rumors of his beef with Cena spread in the pro wrestling community. During his appearance on the Nothing Beats Experience show, R-Truth recalled his initial conversation with the Cenation leader after he joined WWE. "When I signed back to the company, Cena was the big dog and everybody was waiting for us to meet face to face. Everybody was waiting, knew I signed back. The boys are so crazy, man. Umaga, Rip Umaga, man, he got me to come back and even he was in the locker room." The former United States champion detailed that he and Cena brushed aside the stories about their alleged fallout. "When I got to the locker room, all of the boys were sitting down just watching. Cena was in the bathroom. So, when I came in I didn't notice. They're all sitting there waiting. When he came in, he looked, he said, 'We not gonna have any problems, are we?' I said, 'Man, hell no. I'm on your ship,' said R-Truth." The veteran star further said that the locker room hoped to see a fight between him and Cena and was disappointed it didn't happen. The former United States champion revealed in an interview that he and Cena exchanged pleasantries when they met each other at the Charlotte airport. There was no argument or fight between the two, but the rumor was spread by Conan, who wanted to add a bit of spice to the story. Conan reportedly told the rest of the locker room that Truth pushed Cena during their interaction, which wasn't the case. Cena and R-Truth buried the hatchet and went on to have several memorable moments in WWE. What's your favorite R-Truth and John Cena moment? Leave your pick below. Mickie James harshly calls out Sasha Banks. Former 5-time WWE Women's Champion Mickie James called out Sasha Banks for a fight. Sasha Banks is currently not on weekly programming as she walked out of the company with Naomi. The duo are living their lives outside of WWE, where they have appeared in public events and showed up at the premiere of Marvel's She-Hulk. Mickie James, currently associated with Impact Wrestling and NWA, made a special appearance in WWE. She took part in the Women's Royal Rumble match in January. Earlier today, James called out the boss after praising her work at New York Fashion Week. Here's what she said to the former champion. "Fight me." The two have faced each other inside a WWE ring over the past few years. Fans are expecting Banks to return to the company, but only time will tell what the future holds for the boss and Glow. WWE superstars are often seen as celebrities outside the ring. Superstars usually work on projects apart from WWE and often try to establish their name in Hollywood. Sasha Banks notably appeared on the Disney Plus series The Mandalorian. Mickie James has worked with several independent promotions such as Impact Wrestling and NWA to uplift the women's division in recent times. James has often praised wrestlers from different companies and had some words of gratitude for Banks and Naomi after their recent appearance at New York Fashion Week. Stood F. Gimme what I want, damn it. The duo were seen acting as models for New York Fashion Week. Fans are eagerly waiting to see what the duo does next and hope the two will show up on WWE programming in the near future. Do you want to see Banks and Naomi return to WWE? Sound off in the comments section. Another member to Roman Reigns' Bloodline. Shortly after WWE SmackDown came to an end, Rikishi made an interesting comment about Roman Reigns' Bloodline. On the latest edition of the Blue brand, Solo Sikoa officially became a member of the Bloodline. WWE Hall of Famer Rikishi took to Twitter and made a big tease, seemingly stating that something's missing from the Bloodline. Roman Reigns successfully retained his undisputed WWE Universal title against Drew McIntyre at Clash at the Castle due to interference by Solo Sikoa. WWE fans were quick to flock to the reply section of Rikishi's tweet. Most responses saw fans speculating as to who could be the newest member of the Bloodline. The tribal chief kicked off a feud with his cousin Jey Uso and ended up putting him down when the dust settled. Jey and Jimmy Uso later aligned with Reigns, thus forming the Bloodline. With some fans hoping to see Naomi as the newest member of the Bloodline, the female superstar has previously spoken up about the same. Here's what she said. "I do, and it is a little weird that I'm not in it because I'm always there with them. I'm always there, I'm always around, I'm always, annoying them, so maybe later down the road or maybe there's somewhere for me to come in with the boys, with John and Josh. Who knows? But definitely something I would look forward to. I would want it to be the right time, and done properly, said Naomi. Rikishi's tweet has certainly left fans excited for the Bloodline's future. One wonders if Roman Reigns' faction will add more members in the coming months. What do you make of Rikishi's tweet? Sound off in the comments. Roman Reigns receives a massive warning. According to Hall of Fame journalist Bill Apter, Roman Reigns better watch out because the monster among men, Braun Strowman, has arrived. Strowman made an instant impact upon his return by steamrolling through the tag team division. It has since been reported that he will be a part of the WWE SmackDown roster going forward. EC3 even wished his old friend well in his new endeavor. Bill Apter was quite impressed by how Strowman was brought back to the company. Reacting to the monster among men's arrival, Bill Apter stated that the arrival of Strowman is big trouble for the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. An expected return, but who knew when it would happen? The monster among men wiped out every competitor in the tag team fatal 4-way match. Roman Reigns better watch out. This is super big trouble, Apter said. Mr. Apter, of course, is alluding to the fact that the tribal chief and Braun Strowman have waged war for a long time indeed. They can be dubbed the Superman and Lex Luthor of the company. The arch-rivals are almost certain to lock horns at some point in the future. The latest rumors indicate that plans may be afoot for a Roman Reigns vs. Tyson Fury showdown after their respectful exchange in Cardiff at the end of Clash at the Castle. However, the clash is not expected to happen anytime soon. At the same time, there have been rumors of a Cody Rhodes vs. Reigns clash once the American Nightmare recovers. Of course, a Rock vs. Reigns contest has allegedly been in the works for a while. Braun Strowman belongs in the same conversation and already has a ready-made storyline with Roman Reigns that he can potentially sink his teeth into. It remains to be seen where WWE goes from here. Who should be the WWE superstar to dethrone the tribal chief? Let us know in the comments section below.
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head.